to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 73, then extreme heat on Wednesday, hot and sunny with a high of 98. Nightingale at 26th and Lyndale in Minneapolis is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood bar and restaurant. Now open daily from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with their full menu available until midnight. Check them out today at nightingalempls.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Cody Cup, Henny Cudahy,
because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade, Distant Thunder. My colonized name is Robert Pilot, and we discuss national and local Native news and events. And as you all know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. Call them at 651-304-9986. They are having a vaccine clinic on Friday, July 30th from 4 to 6 p.m. You could get your first or your second dose. It's at the Gustavus Adolphus Lutheran Church, 1669 Arcade Street in St. Paul. Free Pfizer vaccines available for individuals ages 12 and up. Free saliva, COVID-19 testing, free Indian tacos, and everyone can get a $10 gift card. Oh my goodness. A $10 gift card for filling out a brief survey, and it's first come, first serve.
Wow. What was that? What can you get again?
A $10 gift card. Jeez.
Should we start the show? Oh, it's live.
It's live. Yeah. We can't edit that out. That's for sure.
So, hey, we got a rockin' show. We got Gina Peltier from up in the deep north who's works with Honor the Earth, and she's going to give us an update because things are going crazy up there. Ogama is going to probably mention this, but a police officer died up there. It didn't have anything to do with water protecting stuff, but still there's kind of a day of rest today, but there's things going on. Yeah, I've been watching just a few minutes of Facebook, and so I had to ask this young warrior to come on. Then we're going to have Lewis. We're going to talk with Lewis, have a little roundtable. People can call and ask the Lakota guy, a question, and we're going to end up with Wendy with your sacred animal section, which is so important and so needed, and it's been going on for 4 years. So we really appreciate your section, and we always say that you don't hear news like this anywhere over Turtle Island on a daily basis. And we're going to go to Ogama with the news. Welcome, Ogama.
Hi, Nimbuju, Robert Wendy. This is Ogama, and you are correct. There was a peace officer from the Red Lake Nation who died in the line of duty today. Officer number 29, Ryan Balke, passed today. The tribe basically shut everything down about halfway through the day. Any non-essential services were closed, and all flags were ordered to be flown at half-mast by the chairman. But the other thing to remember that's affecting Red Lake Nation right now is they were hit by a really bad storm yesterday. Some of the footage has even been on some more broader news sites. They had in some places look like baseball-sized hail. The powwow grounds got pretty severely damaged, and the trading post's electrical box got damaged. So there's no electricity at the trading post right now, which is the grocery store, gas station, the kind of hub where everybody can go to pick up their needs. Was out of power yesterday, and I know that there's still reports from people there who are still waiting for power to be restored in a few places. A lot of hail damage, a lot of roof damage, and then this with the officer. So my sincere prayers are up for Red Lake Nation and what they're going through right now. It's been a rough couple of days.
Yeah, definitely. Our prayers are out there, Wen, in Ogama.
Yeah, so in line 3 news from the GNU Collective this morning, they announced another day, another drill shut down. Water protectors crawled into a segment of the line 3 pipeline and blocked drilling operations under the Western Shell River today. Again, they are working to draw attention to the Line 3 crisis, trying to get President Joe Biden or Governor Tim Walz to take action to stop the Line 3 pipeline. Another thing that we've talked about here and there, but I don't know if we've really kind of talked about it all in order, is that there is an active frack out under the Mississippi River right now that's basically polluting the Mississippi River as we speak. And Ron Turney of the Indigenous Environmental Network put together some images and a piece that he wrote that says kind of in order what's happening. So on Tuesday, July 21st, Ron spotted a large frack out near the banks of the Mississippi River in the LaSalle Valley near Camp Firelight, which is where the Treaty People gathering was. Ron reviewed older footage and shows that this had been spilling for hours before the Enbridge workers even noticed it. And they noticed it during a press conference with the Rights of Mississippi and water protectors that was happening at the headwaters. So water protectors walked up to the river to take a sample of this and send it to the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. In the meantime, both Enbridge and the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency released a statement saying that this spill was nothing to worry about because it was drilling fluid and it was safe. Well, on Wednesday, water protectors and Ron walked out onto the easement and confirmed 2 additional frack outs on the way out to the large one. The drill is 60 feet down under the river. So there's now 3 confirmed frack outs underneath the Mississippi River, right near the headwaters, with drilling mud that Enbridge says is safe, and it's not safe. So on Thursday, the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency finally confirmed that the sample water protectors took on Tuesday contained a harmful and combustible additive called Polysect PowerPack L. The additive's data safety sheet says to prevent it from entering sewers, waterways, and low areas. It also indicates that it's slightly combustible. Cleanup requires to scoop and removal. So Enbridge and the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency are refusing to disclose the additive's chemical makeup, claiming that it's a trade secret and it can't be disclosed. So more drilling fluid is seeping out from under this 60 feet down under the river as we speak daily, right near the headwaters. Water protectors near the LaSalle Valley are saying the water is turning gray, that it's not the right temperature. They've been advised that it's best not to go into the water, not to swim, those kinds of things. And the worst part is that because this drill is 60 feet down under the river, in soft area, because this area is all wetland, it's floodplain, it's all very delicate wetland area there. Enbridge actually isn't required to take samples of the ground where they're drilling. So there could be additional frac outs that just have not yet surfaced that are seeping even further into that oil there that nobody's even aware of because they have not come to the surface because Enbridge is not required to monitor that.
Yeah. Wow. Call your governor, please. Jeez. Like,
Call your governor, call your mother, call the president, call everybody you know. Like, this is outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. So today also supported by their Anishinaabe sisters, a brother Raymond delivered a cease and desist letter to Enbridge after the prayer gathering that happened at Camp Firelight today. And basically they wanted a cease and desist letter so that they could pray for the water. I mean, water protectors have tried just about everything here, and water protectors are continuing to do their best to shut down pipeline construction and to delay this construction to give time for Biden and for Walz to act. But I mean, what we're looking at right now is that, it's thoughts and prayers, which is the worst feeling in the world, as a lot of us know over the events of the last few years. When you feel there's nothing you can do left but pray, no matter how powerful prayer is, it's still a really kind of defeated feeling to have. So if you are looking to get involved to stop Line 3, make sure to go to Linktree/help stop Line 3. That will give you a link for how you can get connected, how you can donate, how you can do that. And then remember, this Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Minnesota State Capitol, MN 350 and Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light are holding an event. We are all downstream. Again, that's Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Minnesota State Capitol.
wow. Ogama Pinigigi for the news. Up next, Gina Peltier of Honor the Earth. This is disheartening. Wendy, do you have the number handy?
I have Governor Walz's phone number, 651-201-3400. Nice, easy number, 651-201-3400. Give him a call and tell him to please stop Line 3.
Yeah, and it put a halt to it right now. Those pipes are leaking all over the place. We can't even see; they're so deep. This is just disheartening. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back.
Stay with us.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College will help you get where you want to go. Located downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, one-on-one mentorship, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality. Connect with a counselor today at dfc.stthomas.edu.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN 350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN 350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
COVID-19 vaccines are safe, effective, free, and approved for everyone over the age of 12. Need help getting a COVID-19 vaccine? Trusted community connectors can find vaccination sites, make appointments, answer questions, and provide interpretation. To learn more about scheduling a free appointment or find a community connector, visit ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine. That's ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine.
If you're hurting in your relationship or have been affected by sexual violence, you're not alone. Strong Hearts Native Helpline can help you through these difficult and uncertain times. Strong Hearts Helpline is a free 24/7 confidential domestic dating and sexual violence helpline for Native Americans. Help is available by calling 1-844-762-8483 or by clicking on the Chat Now icon on strongheartshelpline.org. This message is sponsored by the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm awake.
We are Calusa Nation.
Welcome back. Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice. And just as a reminder again about the vaccine clinic, the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is presenting on Friday, July 30th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Gustavus Adolphus Lutheran Church, 1669 Arcade Street in St. Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Wendy. Hey, we got warrior Gina Peltier on, and she works with Honor the Earth, and she does her own thing, and we're really honored to have her on, Wendy. There's things happening up there in the deep north that we really need to hear firsthand, and so welcome, Gina. I'm really happy that you could make it.
Bonjour, Robert and Wendy. Miigwech for having me on tonight.
Yeah, so I really appreciate you spending time. I know it's hot up there. I know we had storms up there. Things are going crazy. An officer passed away, and we are fighting pipelines. You just went live. Do you want to explain what you're doing and then maybe talk a little bit about what you were shooting live just recently?
Yeah, of course. So I am taking space here at the Red Lake Treaty Camp. And unfortunately, the law enforcement are targeting us. They are harassing us. We're unarmed, nonviolent water protectors, risking our lives for them. And they just seem to want to be helping Enbridge. So it's every time we do have a confrontation with the police, I like to go live to show people how calm and peaceful we are and how they come at us. You know, we're risking our lives for them as well. We're risking our lives for their futures and their children's futures. And it's so sad because they should be standing on our side, helping us protect our water, but they're helping a foreign corporation destroy our water. So it's really disheartening to see our own law enforcement helping terrorists.
Exactly. And, can you talk a little bit about what happened a few days ago, too, up at Red Lake? We had 20 warriors arrested in a violent way. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, I would love to talk about that. Law enforcement violated public law 95-341, which gives us the freedom to pray. And we were in the middle of a ceremony. We were praying when officers violently started to try to arrest us. And all we were doing was praying. We were performing ceremony. We were nonviolent, unarmed, in the middle of ceremony, and they savagely started pulling Indigenous women to the ground, just throw them to the ground, and they would stick their knees into their backs. These little tiny women up against these big men. One of our brave warrior water protectors, she's just a tiny little girl. And one of the officers said, "Let's take the tiny one first." And they went and grabbed her and they brutally took her to the ground and put their knee in her back when all she was doing was praying and praying in ceremony.
Yeah, we saw pictures down here in the Twin Cities of what was going on up there, and it's sickening. We talk about this all the time, but it seems like nothing's changed. You look at footage from the early 80s, Wendy, when, we were fighting the uranium in the Black Hills, and we had police departments and sheriff departments all over Turtle Island that were set up like an army. Mm-hmm. And then you and I experienced Standing Rock the same way. Mm-hmm. And here we are now.
Mm-hmm. The fight's never going to stop. We just have to keep doing it.
Yeah, keep plugging away. And Gina, you've been just such a great warrior, and all the things that you have done, the live stuff, and you're there all the time. I'm so happy you could come on because I just want to give you a big shout out.
And could also, Gina, please tell everyone where exactly you are.
I am at the Red Lake Treaty Prayer Camp, and that is located on Highway 32 between St. Helier, Minnesota, and Thief River Falls, Minnesota. We are right next to the pipeline construction.
So for our people that are listening in Chicago and Madison, that's like roughly 3.5 hours from the Twin Cities north?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say about an hour away from the Canadian border.
Oh, okay. What else would you like to speak on? I know you've been up there, and I know it's dizzying. It's got to be so hard for you to get up every day and do this for our Mother Earth and for our people and for all people to protect the water. We know as Minnesotans that on the headwaters of the Mississippi, you can drink that water, and when we have foreign corporations coming and destroying our area and our wetlands and our water, tell our audience all over Turtle Island what we can do to support you and what we can do as individuals.
We really need to spread the information. A lot of people don't know what's going on. And then, so in December of 2020, when Governor Walz approved of the permits for the pipeline, water became a commodity on Wall Street. So it's really scary because we're in a drought. All the cities around us are under water restrictions. And today they just pulled the permits so Enbridge can't take our water. But we've had people in the river and they've found a pipe that was sucking up water. So they're trying to get evidence of that now to send it in. And as we can see, through all my live feeds, the law enforcement are protecting Enbridge. And we're not even doing anything. Law enforcement are trying to find reasons to come at us. But since water is a commodity on Wall Street now, that's how you make money off of a commodity on Wall Street is supply and demand. You lower the supply, you heighten the demand, and boom, you make money. And that pipeline is going through more than 42% of North America's fresh water. It's 22 river crossings, more than 300 bodies of fresh water. And they already have 9 frack out locations. We would hold an event every Monday at the Mississippi. And when it started to get nice out, we were able to swim in that water. And right now, because Enbridge had that frack out, we cannot swim in that river. It's too poisonous. And when we say 9 frack out locations, there's multiple frack outs at some of those locations. So it's not just 9 frack outs, it's from 9 frack out locations. They are already successfully poisoning our water. And so I'd like to tell people and also inform them that all this oil that is being pumped through this pipeline is going directly to China. And China sells oil to North Korea. I mean, China says that they're going to use this oil to make plastics, but at the same time, anything that's made out of plastic can be made out of hemp. So it's just flabbergasting that the United States isn't investing in hemp, especially when the topsoil in the United States is depleting. And we all know that hemp returns nutrients into the ground. And not only that, you don't need pesticides for hemp. You can make batteries out of hemp. You can fuel your cars out of hemp. You can fuel your houses out of hemp. You can make clothes. You can make houses. It's just ridiculous that we are allowing a foreign corporation to shove a tar sands pipeline through nearly half of our water when none of that oil is going to us. I mean, we have enough in our oil reserves to last us more than 40 years on current consumption. And on top of that, I just like to share with people that Henry Ford's first automobiles ran off of biofuel. We do not need to be relying on oil. We've had the capability and the technology since automobiles were first made to use alternative sources of fuel. And it's just the oil barons paid the politicians to force us to use this type of fuel in our vehicles, when in all reality, we could have been using a better source, better for the environment all along. It's really disheartening that we've been forced to go down this path.
Well, I want to let you know that we're watching your work and work of the water protectors, and don't feel like your work is going unliked. We are praying for you down here in the Twin Cities. Wendy and I were up at Winona's camp, Shell Lake Camp, Shell River Camp just this last weekend. People that can come up and help. And what's a good website for people to go to and either support or come help with this battle for good over evil?
Stopline3.org/hub, HUB. They'd be able to find out the locations and also on how they can help more. We're really trying to do this as peacefully as possible. We are peaceful people. The treaties were intended for us to live as good neighbors, for everyone to thrive off of Mother Earth. And unfortunately, the United States is not upholding their side of the treaties. So we have to be out here fighting for everyone's livelihoods, because we can't fish if there's water. We can't grow our crops if there's water, if there's no water.
Right. Well, Gina, thank you, Pinigigi, so much for letting us call you and talk to you. Again, keep up the great work. Sister Warrior, really, you're my chujunk, my niece. Do a good thing. You're doing a great thing, and stay in touch. And we'd love to amplify what you're doing whenever you have the capacity.
Miigwech for everything you guys do as well. We couldn't do it without you and without your support.
Appreciate it. Wow, Gina Peltier, Wendy of
It's
Honor the
unbelievable.
Earth.
Really, it is disheartening. I can hear it in her voice that she's, defeated, but you can't get defeated. You just have to keep going and keep fighting every day.
Exactly. And she is, and that's what the great thing is. We want to support and amplify these warriors' voices, Wendy, and it's interesting too. That's how this show started. We were amplifying and supporting the Dakota Access Pipeline fight, and here we are again, fighting again. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be back in a minute. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hi, everyone. Matt McNeil here. The last year was hard for so many of us, and many small businesses struggled. That's why everyone at AM 950 is so grateful to the listeners who stepped up and helped support the radio station by becoming members of the station. Because of your listener support, we were able to continue to deliver the best and only progressive talk in the state on one of the few true progressive talk radio stations in the country. As we move into a better tomorrow, it's still important to help support small businesses like AM 950, and the membership is a great way to do it. We have memberships at any financial level, either a one-time donation or a recurring one, and we appreciate any support. We've already featured a lot of members-only bonus content, like the calendars, special member-only interviews, and even personalized messages, and we have more benefits coming soon. To become a member, go to am950radio.com, click on the Become a Member button, and sign up today. That's am950radio.com. Help support AM 950 sponsors, support local small businesses, and become a member of AM 950 Radio today at am950radio.com.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. You've heard the screamers, you've heard the shouters. Well, now it's time to listen to a real conversation. Now it's time for the Rick Unger Show.
Weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on AM 950.
We have vital information we would like to share with you. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 73, then extreme heat on Wednesday, hot and sunny with a high of 98. Next Chapter Booksellers in St. Paul is back open for in-person browsing. Let their experts find the perfect book for you no matter your taste. That's Next Chapter Booksellers, the corner of Snelling Avenue and Grand Avenue in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Thanks, Jane. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Thanks, Wendy. Hey, one of the reasons why we bring on young warriors like that, and Ogama Does the News, is to our allies to keep them informed, Wendy, of what's happening, because you don't see or hear any of this on the news or regular news. So that's our job here, and amplify the unamplified.
Well, everybody else out there, the news stations and everything else is, protecting these multi-billion-dollar corporations who are destroying the earth.
Right. Or they're just lazy.
Or they're just lazy.
And not going to drive up there and report things like that, or especially the small stations up there. But hey, just before we get to Lewis and have a little roundtable, I want to give everyone a chance to call in and join in at 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Give us a call. Don't be shy. One of the things I wanted to say before we get to Lewis, Wendy, is we were talking a little bit during the break, and it's just like people have to remember that for the last 4 years, there's been a media blitz from Enbridge that makes everything seem like rainbows and butterflies, and they talk jobs. And what do they got? Less than 1,000 people from Minnesota working. We got 4,000 people from all over the United States working here. And it's not jobs. And it's also not secure jobs, Wendy.
It's non-union jobs. So they have no benefits. They have no health care. They don't have 401ks. And,
right.
It's not what they say it is. They make up numbers.
So let's wait for people to call, but let's have a talk with Lewis Eagle Thunder, and let's talk with the Lakota guy who's introduce yourself and tell everybody about your TikTok page, and let's talk a little today, Lewis.
Absolutely. I first want to throw it back to Ogma. She mentioned she had a tidbit she wanted to quickly say here.
Yeah, Miigwech, Lewis, before I forget, I just want to remind everybody that 2 days ago was the anniversary of the Marshall spill. So on July 25th, 2010, at about 6 p.m., Enbridge Incorporated had a rupture in a 30-inch pipeline in a wetland in Marshall, Michigan. The rupture was not discovered or addressed for over 17 hours. During that time lapse, Enbridge pumped twice twice pumped additional oil, or 80% of the total release, into the Line 6B during 2 startups. The total release is estimated to be 843,444 gallons of crude oil. The oil saturated into the surrounding wetlands and flowed into the Talmadge Creek and then the Kalamazoo River. This is the Kalamazoo Oil River spill, people. 2 days ago was the anniversary. So 2010, that'd be 11 years ago. Local residents ended up self-evacuating from their homes because Enbridge was, again, not aware of this for over 17 hours. And the Kalamazoo River was very near destroyed. And on top of that, Enbridge did not at all estimate properly the amount of money it was going to take to clean it up. And they had to be harassed by the state of Michigan several times to continue with cleanup before the state of Michigan ended up taking over that cleanup entirely.
Wow, thanks, Ogama. A bad anniversary. Hey, we love the fact. Before I get to you, Lewis, we got a phone. We got Susan on the phone line, and from Dane County, and we know Dane County is being in Madison, Wendy. So welcome, Susan. Come on to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I'm really upset about this whole water issue that we have going on throughout the country, and I really want to get the media up there. How do I get a hold of people to make them understand they have to come up and they have to report this?
Ogama, do you have a response to Susan's call?
Yeah, I have a response. Susan, hi, this is Ogama Ganukwe. I've done some of that work to try to reach out to different news organizations to try to confirm to them that indeed they should come cover this issue. But unfortunately, the media is its own entity, and many media outlets choose what they do and do not cover. We've had the most success with media outlets that have covered this topic before. And again, when there is a significant update. So MSNBC and some of those places came this winter, but have not come to report again now this summer. Why that is, even though there's been these significant changes, there's been these spills, I'm not sure. But I would encourage you to keep reaching out to local and national news pages and keep reporting, and hopefully somebody will pick it up.
Well, the sad thing too, Susan, is I know there was a lot of reporters up there, but reporters were up there when Jane Fonda was up there, and there was 3 other celebrities up there, and they followed her. There was a big action happening where 2,000 or 3,000 people were there. But then, you know, as the celebrities leave, so does the press. So it's a hard nut to crack, and we've been really pushing it out there.
So should I call Governor Evers to see if he can push the narrative? I mean, I guess I feel like the narrative has to be out there all the time. I have been a water protector all my life through providing rain gardens in my business, and I really take care of the water, and I'm so upset that this is going on. But it's hard to get people in power to listen because I have a small microphone. I don't have a megaphone.
Yeah.
Well, we all have small microphones, and the more small microphones that we have that's how it's amplified. And we just have to keep making phone calls, sending emails, writing letters, talking to your neighbors, bringing awareness about this. And that's what we can do.
And one of the things too, Susan, is you can share our show out too, because we start the show out with a lot of Line 3 news right away, because again, we start out by saying that Ogama does the news that you don't hear in other places. And then we had Gina on today, who's, you know, boots on the ground, and her eyes are seeing all this and personally affecting her. So promoting that, and it's always good to call your governor or even our governor and say, hey, I'm listening to this. Because believe you me, we've had Tim Walz on. We've had Peggy Flanagan, who's our lieutenant governor, who's Native American, on this show. And now we don't see them anywhere, and they're not going to come on the show because the heat is on, and their decisions are affecting everybody all over Turtle Island, some 48 million people.
Okay. Right.
And on the note
thank you for
yeah, and Pinigigi, thank you for listening. I really appreciate that. Thanks, Susan. Wow, Wendy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of people who care, and they don't exactly know what to do, but we all have to do a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she is doing something. Rain gardens are
absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
you know, how many times when it rains and it hasn't rained in a long time, we look at our
Mhm.
sidewalk, our concrete sidewalk, and all this water rushing down
Mhm.
right to the river with no wetlands or rain
Mhm.
gardens or anything to filter it into the river. Go ahead, Ogma.
You know, on the note of Governor Evers, like she was talking about Governor Evers in Wisconsin, Wisconsin also faced an Enbridge spill this past winter that Enbridge failed to report for almost 18 months to the state or federal government and claimed it was COVID-19 that was preventing them from reporting it. I'm not really sure how that works, but I mean, Governor Evers is in a unique situation where they could take action in Wisconsin in the same way that Governor Whitmer in Michigan has taken action and say, you know, get out of my state, that we do not want you here. There's dangerous things that are going to happen because these things are here, and, you know, calling on that public law to protect their citizens.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely good reminder. Lewis, what do you have to offer? What do you have to add? I mean, this is just heart-wrenching today, and you could even hear it in Susan's voice, it's not totally affecting her in her backyard, but she feels the pain of all our water protectors and what's happening to our relatives, our beans, the four-leggeds and the deer and all those people that are our relatives.
Yeah, and indigenous issues are human issues, and you say it yourself in the beginning of the show, right? And this isn't just a slogan. This is the way we live as not only stewards of this land. We talk about treaties, the 1855 treaty with the Chippewa, that this Enbridge corporation, mind you, for-profit corporation, and none of this, tar sands is ever going to affect you at the pump. So those of you that think that somehow you're going to get some sort of benefit of this, you're not getting no benefit of it. In fact, they're going to process it out of the country and cause even more environmental damage. And we have a sacred oath to upkeep our environment with our two-legged, four-legged, winged, our water, and all of this we take very seriously as Indigenous people. That's why we center ourselves on these issues. It's just not Indigenous issues. These are human issues that we all have to deal with, because we are going to answer to our grandchildren when they don't have clean water. We're going to answer to our great-grandchildren when they have to buy water from Nestle aquifers. That's the issue we have right now. We have people living in tents all across the United States while Jeff Bezos is in space. This is the country that we live in today, and us Indigenous people are at the center of this fight for not only clean water, but dignity of the earth, dignity of our relatives.
That's well said, and I feel like one of the things I'd like to add to that is it's almost like somebody that's native and close to the ground and they hear the drum for the first time, and what's happening too with our white allies and our other allies is that they're feeling this because at one point they were just like Native Americans. They've been colonized, not just 500 years like they've been attacking us on Turtle Island, but they were colonized, back in England, back in Italy, back in Spain, and all, so they're feeling it too. And so we just say, come join us, because we all are one. It's one circle. It's the four colors. Lewis, and your thoughts before we get going on to the next segment.
Yeah, it's a sacred oath, and I cannot stress this enough. It is a, we always talk about colonized treaties, and most of you understand treaties between a piece of paper and Indigenous people and colonizers. But what we have as Indigenous peoples, we have a complex history of treaties with the land, treaties with each other, and treating each other with dignity. Are we truly giving the earth dignity when we're allowing for-profit corporations to do irreversible damage to our waterways? Are we treating the earth with dignity when we're not giving her space when it comes to healing and not causing irreversible damage that we're doing? And more power to our relatives and Red Lake Nation up there, all of the treaty camps that are fighting the good fight. Please go to stopline3.org, like our sister said earlier today, to get involved. We need you now more than ever.
Perfect way to segue into we're going to do our sacred animal section up next. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Stay with us. We have vital information we would like to share with you. The Department of Indian Works St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on testing sites, isolation space, vaccines, housing assistance, and food resources. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19 or has questions to determine if you should get tested, please call them at 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986. That's 651-304-9986.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
We are Alusa Nation.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Like a choir. We harmonized. How did that happen?
Boys and men.
We're all, boy, you just aged yourself there, Lewis. Boys to men.
Yeah, I know who they are.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Cool. So, hey, I want to well, I haven't said this in a while, but it really, this has been an awesome show, really great show. And I want to say all things are relatives, and what we do to all, we do to ourselves. All is one. Black Elk said that. I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy. Wendy is a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and she works on local and state level stuff. Welcome, Wendy. Tell us your name.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani, and that means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. And as always, we want to thank Curtis for that name. His Native American name is Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. So yes, thank you, Curtis. You know, I've been giving updates a lot on the Onaquai horses. As you all guys all know, the Onaquai horses are a herd of horses. And they live in Utah, and the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, did a recent roundup to get them off the land because I want to say this, the cattlemen and the ranchers are just as bad as Enbridge. So we're going to get rid of these horses. And right now, I want to thank everyone who has called about these horses, emailed about these horses, raised their voice and care about these horses, because the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, is facing lawsuits, demands from Congress, and outraged Americans are wanting the BLM to make really strict changes to its adoption incentive program that is sending the wild horses and burros to a terrible fate in foreign slaughter plants. So what happens is the roundup, the horses are now in 2 different places in Utah, and they want people to come and adopt these horses. But really, anybody can go and adopt these horses and get them out of there. I'm sure that it costs money. But what happens is the people who come and adopt them have another idea about what's going to happen to these horses. And what they do is they sell them to kill buyers where they could make even more money. So the kill buyers will buy the horses per pound and then send them to either Canada or Mexico to get slaughtered. So here is a new excerpt from the Bureau of Land Management. They just had a press release. We are committed to the health and safety of adopted wild horses and burros, said BLM Deputy Director for Programs Nada Wolf-Culver. While the vast majority of adopters already adhere to our requirements to provide a good and caring home, the BLM is now taking additional steps to secure the health and safety of the adopted animals. We will begin to make additional compliance visits post-adoption, bring more scrutiny to potential adopters, and increase warnings to sale barns about the risk of illegally selling wild horses and burros, among other steps. Before adopting a wild horse or burro, an individual must certify under penalty of prosecution that the individual not knowingly sell or transfer the animal for slaughter or for processing into commercial products.
Wow.
Well, because here's the thing, they go to slaughter, then the meat is sold elsewhere for
Yep.
human consumption. To ensure adopted animals go to good homes, the BLM limits adopters to assuming title to a maximum of 4 animals within a 12-month period and prohibits the transfer of title for at least 12 months from the adoption date. Furthermore, the BLM conducts compliance inspections on animals when in private care prior to the title transfer. Now, these is all new rules, and the reason why they're doing this is because they've gotten demands from Congress, and outraged Americans have been calling to get this changed. So I want to thank everyone whoever has called. Do this. Phone calls make a difference. Emails make a difference. Letters make a difference. Talking on the radio makes a difference, right? I want to give a couple of other quick updates. I talked about that old man Gandalf. He was also old man. Some people call him Old Man Gandalf. He's a wild horse, Onaquai horse in Utah, who's 30 years old. He has not been captured, and they're thinking that it's because he's been around a while, right? And he's seen what's going on, so he hides up in the high hills when the helicopters come. And there have been other horses to follow him, so he's a smart horse to watch.
Wow.
So I'm glad that Gandalf is still on the range and he's doing a really good thing. But witnesses have seen. Witnesses, unfortunately, have seen pictures of baby horses separated from their mothers at the Delta BLM pens, in separate pens. So that's disheartening to learn that. I also want to give a shout out to Jen Rogers. I follow her on Facebook, and she is the founder and president of a grassroots 501c3 nonprofit organization called Red Birds Trust. Red Birds Trust. So if you want to follow her, she gives a lot of good updates. She lives right there. So again, the Red Birds Trust is a grassroots organization based in Utah, founded by local wild horse advocates who have immersed themselves in the lives of the Onaquai, and it is their goal to help these horses live their best lives both on the range and after adoption. So this organization is really fighting to make sure that the horses are adopted to good homes, that people are adopting possible family members or herd members together to keep the family members together. And then, just making sure that the horses are kept, fed and watered and kept in good condition. I want everyone also, this guy, his name is Gus Warr, Gus. The last name is Warr, and he's the big guy at the BLM. And you could email him at gwar@blm.gov, and you could call him also, and because we need updates. All these horses were already supposed to be seen by the public and started the adoption process, and they're not. They're just being held there. So we need to call Gus Warr and put the pressure on. When are people going to be able to see these animals? When are these animals going to be viewable to the public in these holding facilities? He's available at 801-539-4001. I'll give that number again. It's 801-539-4001. And you could call Gus Warr, who is the big guy. I don't know his title, at the Bureau of Land Management. We need to
BLM.gov.
BLM.gov. And we need to get in touch with him and say, it's time for these horses to be viewed by the public and adopted out to good families.
Well, and Peony Gigi Wendy for talking about our other relatives too that really are unspoken, and they don't have their words. Just like we're trying to amplify what's going on with our water protectors. You amplifying our relatives is a huge thing, and people that are really in touch with themselves and their indigenous ways really appreciate that. So I want to just say, Peony Gigi, we are living on Earth. We are not living on Earth, Wendy. We are Earth. I want to end with these thoughts. If you're listening to this show, you're part of the resistance. From Chief Plenty Coops, the ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. It's the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, and run for office. Peony Gigi for Gina for being on. Wendy, Ogama, and Lewis. You're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981.